Cheers, big ears, and welcome to the Beach Travel Wine Podcast. We are your hosts, Leanne.
And I'm Lyle.
And we are not your usual travel influencers. No, we've decided we want to be travellers that travel under the influence. Okay, good joke?
Reasonable.
Well, there's plenty more where that come from. So join us as we travel the world, one wine at a time. Well, hello, Lyle. Hola.
Hola, Leanne.
Lyle and I are sitting here in this beautiful hotel in Zaragoza in Spain, and had a fabulous day getting here. But what I want to tell you about, or we want to tell you about, is the absolute nightmare we had getting out of London to Spain. It was, it's a story and a half.
It was horrible.
It was terrible. So we thought it really deserved its own podcast because it was just crazy. So we booked our flights from Heathrow to Madrid at 9:15 in the morning, and we were leaving on the Sunday. And on the Sunday morning, we knew that there was the roads in central London were going to be closed because there was a event on called Ride London, and all the central roads throughout London were going to be closed. So we knew that, and so we made the decision that we would catch the underground to get to the airport. And there's a underground station from our hotel about 100 metres, if that, diagonally across the road. So a couple of days before the Sunday, we went in and we spoke to a lovely gentleman there, and I just wanted to check the timetable, when the first train was, how long it would take to get there, what platform, all that sort of stuff, because I'm a bit anal like that. I just like to know, aren't I?
Sure.
Yeah, like to know where I'm going, what I'm doing. Anyway, so he set us straight. He said, look, the first one's at 5:35. It'll take you 45 minutes. It'll get you there 3 hours before your flight, which is what we needed to be there. Perfect. Not a concern, right? So, and we knew how to use them, use our cards, tap in, tap out. So the night before we left... I
was told that I couldn't have too much to drink because we had to get up early.
Correct. And we did go to bed early, but I didn't sleep. I was having dream after dream about everything that could possibly go wrong with our trip to the airport, getting to the airport was happening, and by the time the alarm went off at 4:15 a.m. I was just so glad that I could actually get out of bed and make some noise and get going. But maybe that was like a sign of things to come, I'm thinking.
Yeah, and sure, I actually had a sense that something wasn't right as well when I woke up.
There was something brewing. So anyway, we get ourselves ready, we check out, we get our suitcase, we have to move the barricades out of the road. They've got all the barricades along the road to cross over, and we get to the underground, and the exit of the underground is shut up tight, closed. And I'm like, oh shit, what's going on here? And I thought, well, maybe it's just because it's just on 5 a.m. They don't open to 5. We'll go around to the entrance. And so we get round to the entrance, and it's all shut up bar one door. And at that time, we can hear this speaker, this lovely English accent over the speaker, basically announcing that all train lines are not operating today due to industrial action. So we're like, well, excuse my language, I should have put a warning at the beginning of this, but what the fuck do we do now? Like, the roads are closed in central London, but, it's barricaded, the trains aren't running,
and we got to get to Heathrow.
We've got to get to the airport. So we were sort of standing around out the front, and I'm doing my little panic dance as I do, and there's a group of guys, and I just asked them, where could we get a taxi? And the guy said, well, Uber's probably best, but you can get a taxi just down the road. So we walked down the road, not a taxi to be seen, anywhere. There's no one around. It's dead. It's like Armageddon. I mean, just like, okay, we'll go back to the hotel and get them to ring a taxi.
Yeah, but sure. But before that, when we spoke to the nice young bloke, he said, you just get an Uber and it should be fine. And he said, but then he also said that, look, you can still do the underground. You've just got to take one train to one particular station and then catch another one. And then within minutes, he said, hang on, all the lines are closed.
They're shut.
So
I did try Uber at the same time, and it's saying, connecting you with the driver, and it's going round and round and round and round and round. And
this other guy, and the same guy said, we're in the same boat. Yeah, we can't get an Uber either. Yeah.
So you imagine my stress levels. I'm not very chilled at this stage. So the trains are shut down. There's no taxis.
So we decided to go back to
an Uber. That's right.
We decided to go back to the hotel.
That's right. And we asked them to ring a taxi.
They could, ring us a taxi.
Use their influence, being a big hotel. So, the guy did ring a taxi, and he's gone, oh, thank you, and hung up. And he said to me, no, there's no taxis. Sorry, there's
none available. After a little while, he turned around and said, well, maybe I should check the other company.
Well, that's because I turned on the tears.
Oh, okay.
Which wasn't that difficult, because I was starting to panic.
Well, you were starting to cry.
Yeah, I did, and I'm just like, can you please do something? We've got to get to the airport. And he's like, I'll try the other company. And I'm like, what the heck didn't you do that in the first place, mate? Anyway, so Lyle's in there.
So Liam went outside.
I did, and I'm still trying to get Uber.
I stayed in the reception area waiting for the other guy. Anyway, I think he got through to the other company, but within seconds, Leanne's singing out, come on, Lyle, we've got a cab. Yeah. And that was, the doors were closed and I could still hear her.
Yeah, I was so it comes around the corner and he basically pulled in. So I don't know whether he saw me or he was the one they ordered, but we grab it straight away, So I'm like, phew, finally off to the airport, crisis averted, but no, that wasn't that easy, was it? There were roadblocks, there were U-turns, there were police blockages, there was a traffic jam. And we didn't arrive at Heathrow until, we did arrive on time because I like to get going early, but when we got there, it cost us nearly 200 Australian dollars to get to the airport. But, tears were averted. It was just, stress levels are still up, because we're not at our plane yet, but we finally got there. And the guy on the taxi driver was just so nice. Lyle's godson's a racing car driver, but and we've done a few laps with him, but I reckon this guy could, give him a run for his money.
Yeah, sure. He was very good. Yeah, he'd give Harry a run for his money for sure.
Yeah.
But a really nice guy, and when we got out of the cab, he just said to me, I thanked him. And he said, I just wanted to make sure you got here on time.
Yeah, you could probably see my stress levels.
He was a nice guy. So then
we had to tackle Heathrow. What a bloody busy airport. We had to find our check-in. We had to go through security. And so that was, it's massive. If you've ever been to Heathrow, it's just, it's huge. And so we do find where we've got to go. We go through, and they don't let you stay together. You go this way, you go that way. I've gone through security. Lyle goes through security, but he puts the laptop out of his bag and it gets through, but his backpack doesn't. And because he had liquids in it that he'd forgotten about in one of the complimentary toiletry bags that they give you. So he's standing in line waiting for someone to chastise him and go through his bag. And so I've got the laptop, I've got my bag, and I'm sitting down and put the laptop on my lap and the handbag on top, waiting for Lyle. Finally, I can see he's about to get through, so I get my handbag, I stand up, and I forget that I've got the laptop on my lap. That's why it's called a laptop, dickhead. So, and it falls, it's got this hard case on it, and it falls on the corner on my big toe, and it is still black and blue. Look at it, at this, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and luckily it was my dicky leg, because, you don't want to be living with one leg. But that really hurt for quite a long time. Anyway, so Lyle gets through, he's got his bag, we've got the laptop, then we've got to wait and to see what our gate is. Right?
Just to be fair, the lady that stopped me and had to go through my bag for the liquids, she was really, really pleasant.
Yeah, she was.
She was.
It was just an added stress, though, that your bag didn't go through, that's all. Yeah, so we have to look at the departures board to find out what gate we're going to. Now, there's gates A, B and C. A is the terminal that we're in, and B and C are terminals that you have to go down the lift, get on a train, take about 10-minute ride to get to those gates. And we didn't know which one we were on. I did ask a gentleman. He said it could be C, but I'm not sure. So we decide we'll wait here until 8:20, because that's when it said gates will be announced at 8:20. So
we went and had a long flat white.
Yes, $19 later for 2 coffees. But anyway, so 8:20, we're standing there waiting. I'm up out of the chair waiting. 8:21, 8:22, 8:25. There's nothing. I'm like, we've got to, because our plane leaves just after 9, and you've got to be there to board in time. And I'm like, if we've got to get on this train, we've got to go 10 minutes on this train to get to the terminal. We don't know where we've got to go, so the stress levels are going again. And then all of a sudden, just after 8:30, our gate is announced, and it's A7. It's actually in the terminal that we're in, right? Phew, good, we're done. But it's right up the other end of the terminal. But that was okay. We had our coffee. We'd finished our coffee, so we started to walk up the other end of the terminal. But that's okay. It was a good walk, and we didn't have to catch a train, and we get there. And so the plane's just about boarding about the time we get there. And so we do get on the plane. And we did snag extra legroom seats, so that was pretty good. So we're ready to go. It's 9:15, time to take off. We're waiting, and then the people who checked us in come on board, and they're counting people, and then they're counting again because other people are getting on board.
Yeah, and then they're also checking the boarding passes.
Yeah, well, they actually then checked everyone's boarding pass again. And then they're relaying that information by phone back to the terminal. Yeah. So we were on the tarmac for over an hour, just waiting.
Basically for the people who check the boarding passes, and I think there may have been one person that was wrong.
Right, yeah.
And they still stayed on the plane. But anyway, the announcement came over the PA from the pilot that there'd been a problem with the ground, not so much the ground staff, but
that wasn't their fault.
Yeah, it wasn't their fault. They weren't taking any blame.
It was the Heathrow staff. They were passing the buck there.
Yes, but anyway,
so we take off. Great flight, right? Sure. And we land in Madrid. Yeah, and it's interesting because we haven't had to check any of our documents, paperwork anywhere, but
especially about vaccination.
Yes, but in Madrid, they check our vax, and if you haven't got your vaccination certificate, they're going to vaccinate you right there on the spot, right? And our entry form that you actually from Australia, you need to fill in this location form, which we did ahead of time. And I have to say, just a little hint here. I know we're old-fashioned, but I printed them out, and it just made so much difference because people were searching through their phones and they didn't have all the vax information and they didn't have it all there, and we had it all there in one sheet.
Yeah, and I think with the phones, what I overheard was you must have your phone on its highest brightness.
Yeah, that was a whole lot of... But anyway, so that was really good. So then you think, oh, phew, we're through. We'll get our luggage and we'll head out. But no, you have to go down an escalator, underground, get on a train, and what was it, like 5 minutes more? We're heading on this train without our luggage. We're just following the crowd, and I'm just like, oh God, what are we doing? Anyway, we get off the train and we have to then find. We had to then go through another security checkpoint, I think. We find what carousel our luggage is on, and we grab our luggage, and we decided that we're going to get a taxi because we'd been going for hours and hours and hours, all that stress to get us into the city. So that was our stressful trip. However, there was a real bonus on our flight, wasn't there? Like the seats we sat in, there was a gentleman sitting at the window seat, And he picked up straight away that we didn't speak much Spanish, that we spoke English when they were giving the the emergency exit instructions. And he knew that we were from Australia because he saw our passports. And you tell him, Lowell, Oscar was his name.
Yeah. So Oscar was working on his laptop, and I sort of looked across and saw his letterhead. And I said, Oscar. And he said, yes. And I said, well, my name's Lyle. Lyle, and this is Leanne. And this is Leanne, my wife. And at that stage, I should have got that right, so I hadn't had a drink.
No.
Anyway.
That's what stress will do to you, honey.
He said that he recognised our accents from in Australia. And we sort of said, how come? And he said that he has some friends that live on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland in Australia. And we said, sorry.
We said that we're from Sunshine Coast. And so, what a small world. They're probably the only other person on the plane that knows where the Sunshine Coast is, or has been to the Sunshine Coast, and he loves it. These friends have a house sort of up in the hinterland, and he was showing us photos.
Yeah, Maloney.
And we just we talked about all things Sunshine Coast, and he was so helpful. He was originally from Toledo, and he's living in Madrid, and he gave us all this fabulous information, and we talked about travelling, we talked about Spain. So for all the absolute, nightmare stress that we went through, which I know is part of travelling. I'm not whinging, we're just sharing how funny the story was. It ended up perfect because we got to sit and chat to Oscar, who is now one of my Instagram friends. So how cool was that, Lyle?
Yeah, no, he's a really, really nice guy.
Anyway, we just wanted to share that story with you because we thought it was worth a podcast on its own. And, stay tuned because there'll be lots of info coming up on Spain. We can't wait to share our holiday, our trip, our information with you. Hey, Lyle.
Sure.
Sí. So, adios, amigos.
Yeah, hasta luego.
Hasta luego.